Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, we're coming to you live from Lawrence, South Carolina. Yeah, we're making a little road trip this week. So coming to you live from Florida, South Carolina. We got lots to get to today. It's going to be a shorter show. Timmy will not be appearing today. You turn that stuff off. Well, that's what you get without Timmy. So it'll be a little shorter show today. But we got lots to get to. We got some Rays to talk about. A very successful weekend, including tarps off, which we will be talking about in a little bit. Got some Bucks and Rays news regarding the stadium, so we'll hit you with that as well. The Bolts have signed a Finnish Phenom, a 20-year-old that just lit up the Finnish Professional League. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. We'll mix in some NBA with the Game 7, Wemby over SGA, and what that means moving forward. Knicks, Spurs, NBA Finals. I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. We'll do a little college baseball as well as we're taping this. The Gators are awaiting their opponent for their regional final or NCAA sub-regional final, and they got to be beaten twice or they'll be moving on to the super regionals. The Noles right now are in the middle of a game with NIU up in Tallahassee, so we'll hopefully have a final for you on that before we get done today as NCAA baseball keeps going on. All right, let's get right to it. Oh, we're going to have a little bit of Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter thoughts as well. Whatever you guys want, no comments today, obviously, as we're taping this one, so we'll be back on Tuesday with a live show. All right, let's get right into it. First of all, we gotta give a shout out to Alejandro and all the guys that did tarps off on Friday night, which was an absolute incredible success. I was watching it from afar. Wish I could have been there. I will make the promise that, or the threat, maybe the threat, that we will be doing tarps off at some point this year. So maybe we'll get all the Petermans together to do that, but we'll definitely be doing that at some point this season. So that was Friday night. And when you know, a come from behind 7-run rally spurred on by all the shirtless divas out there in left field, which, by the way, is just, phenomenal for Tropicana Field, for the Rays. I mean, it's been a long time since there's been this kind of vibe at Tropicana Field. And I kind of been putting this out there that I think we're going to make some T-shirts too. Baseball is fun again in Tampa Bay, right? Baseball is fun again in Tampa Bay. We're this close to getting the forever home done. I think that's going to be done. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. But we're this close to getting that done. Here's this team at the end of May in first place in the American League East. They've done that 4 times. All 4 times they have gone to the playoffs. And now there's a vibe in Tropicana Field unlike anything I've ever seen. And the new ownership group is really leaning into it. Of course, on Friday night, they put out the T-shirts. I didn't get this T-shirt to wear this T-shirt or something of that effect, what it said. And then guys twirling the T-shirts, as we said. But, selling out those sections, they're really leaning into it. And they also had ushers out there that, for those people who had season tickets, if they weren't into it, they moved them to better seats, which I thought was pretty cool. So it was a tremendous success and will continue to go on. And just the overall vibe in that place right now, it's so much more brighter than it's ever been. It's so much more full than it's ever been. The youthful energy. And the story behind that is awesome. A couple of 17-year-old Tampa prep kids that started that whole thing. And I was there on the Tuesday night the first time they did it. And it was really organic, and it just, everybody ran over there and did it. And then, of course, they sold the tickets the other night. So, that's a vibe that you really got to, lean into. And the new ownership group is doing a great job with that. New summer promotions with the family pack that they're doing. It starts at $27. You get the hot dog meal, parking pass, great seats for everybody for, $27 a person. You go out to a movie these days, it's $100 if you're putting four for people in food. So they're really doing a great job marketing this team. And I think this new ownership group is a huge part of the success of this team. I don't think there's any question about that. And Ken Babby and Bill Cosgrove, Zalupski, and all the guys leaning into all the stuff that's going on at Tropicana Field. It's a good thing. So Sunday, kind of a must-have win, I thought. You're coming off a Saturday game where you just got bludgeoned. Rasmussen went out there, gave up a grand slam early on, walking guys. That was a debacle after the Friday night win. So you needed to win this series against the lowly Angels to really feel good about yourself. And Sugar Shane went out there and did what he's done all year long. Get this now, 5 innings pitched. His ERA now is 2.45 on the season. He's 6-2, been absolutely phenomenal. And just to see him come back and pitching the way he's been pitching, and if he can stay healthy, that's obviously the key for Sugar Shane. If he can stay healthy and lead this team, they've got a really, really good shot to continue what they're doing. They're not going to play 680 baseball the rest of the way. They at this point had lost 5 or 6 coming into Sunday's game, so that was a huge, huge win. They needed to get. Aranda starts it off with a home run, and what a May he's had. Check out these numbers. Aranda's last 7 games, 12 for 22, 545 average, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 607 on base percentage, 1,000 slugging percentage, and an OPS of 1.607. In case you didn't know, that's really, really good. That's really, really good OPS. So he's been absolutely hot. Maybe the player of the month in May. I think he's got a pretty good shot of that. By the way, Brian Baker closes the game and ties Fernando Rodney with 16 saves by the end of May. This is a team that has just really done things that nobody predicted so far in the season. By the way, Taylor Walls should have had a grand slam to make this game 7-1 and just end it without any drama at all. But Jose Siri goes over the wall, the low wall in left field, and keeps that ball from going right into the cheese dip. There was a full buffet lined up right behind the wall, and he catches it. If he doesn't catch that ball, it's going right into the cheese dip. But he does, and it's a 3-1 game instead of a 7-1 game. And the Rays have the bullpen did a nice job, locked it down. So they get the big series win, which they really, really needed to get over the Angels to kind of get that good feeling going. Played some much better defensive baseball than they've been playing. So all of that really, really good stuff. And I mentioned the Friday game. The only bad news in this whole thing was Craig Kimbrell, who looked really good. Really, really good in his first appearance. The old Wiley veteran comes up lame on Friday with the right wrist injury, had some inflammation. So instead of pushing it, they just decided to rest him, and hopefully he can get back and become. Cash said they love his stuff. They think they can get him straightened out. His ERA was about 5.42 with the Mets earlier before they DFA'd him. Again, he looked really good in his only appearance, and now if they can get him back and if he can add something to the bullpen, that will be a tremendous, tremendous lift for them. This guy can get right-handers out like nobody's business. He's not the guy he used to be, obviously. I think he just turned 38. But if you can spot him to get right-handers out with that stuff that he had the other night, that's a huge pickup. But he'll be on the DL for a little bit. By the way, they call up Cam Boozer, who's been untouchable in AAA. 24 appearances, a 1.80 ERA. He's the 34-year-old that it was out of baseball for 5 or 6 years, came back, incredible comeback story through alcoholism, major injuries, pitched for the Red Sox in 24 and then the White Sox. But he has been unhittable at AAA, so he's a lefty. If he can come in and give him something from the left side, that's going to be a big pickup for him. So good weekend. I won't say great weekend because they lose that game on Saturday, get bludgeoned, but at least they had the Cole Swindell concert. But a good weekend, and now the Tigers come in, who are just all beat up. Griffin Jackson will make the start tonight on Monday night, so he's back from the taking that 107-mile-an-hour comebacker to the back. So he's going to get on the hill tonight, and he'll be back, and that's good news. They didn't have to put him on the DL. So good news from the Rays, and hopefully they can keep it going against the Tigers this week and get on a little bit of a roll. They're now 36-20 overall, first place in the AL East, 21-6 at Tropicana Field, 21-6. That home field advantage that they lost last year outside at Steinbrenner, it is definitely back at the newer, brighter Trop, and they're playing really, really good baseball. They play much better defense at home. Maybe it's the artificial turf. Maybe it's just the surroundings, the familiar outfield. They know how the turf bounces. Whatever it is, they're playing much better defense at home, and that's been a key to that 21-6 home record. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the Bucks and the Rays in this sense. There's a lot of noise over the weekend about, the Bucks coming up with their offer last week or their first salvos to the TSA about what they're looking for. It's probably going to be $1 billion to $1.3 billion renovation. They floated that they would pay 1/3 and the county would pay 2/3. Now, as we said, that's we had Ken Hagan on last week, the Hillsborough County chair. That's not realistic. And you have to understand what the Bucks are doing and what the Rays are doing and what the Lightning are doing are three very, very different things. The obviously the Rays is not just a stadium project. It is a $8 to $10 billion build out around it. And that's, of course, when you're getting much more tax revenue back for the investment that you're putting in because of, the projected 9 million tourists that will come in a year, spend all their money, sales tax, the 8 million square feet that you're going to build, property taxes that will come from that, commercial property taxes, not the ones you're getting taken away, hopefully, by the governor, which, by the way, the governor kind of clarified some stuff that we're talking about, how this might affect the property tax going away, how it would affect the Rays deal because, less income coming in to the counties. Well, the governor, DeSantis, said in an interview this week that counties will be able to claw back that money that they may be missing out on in property tax in state grants because the state is collecting so much tax money. So, for fire, police, things like that, now they can apply to the state to cover those expenses that would have been covered with the property taxes. So that was one thing a lot of people were feeling. How can you give away so much money? Invest so much money when the property tax might go away? Well, hopefully this will kind of remedy those concerns. They get some of that money back from the state that they may be losing. And of course, that all has to be voted on. It's still off in the future where obviously this is happening now. But the 1/3, 2/3, that's just what the Bucks have floated, and they know that's not gonna pass muster. But you always ask, right? And that comes from the Lightning, the money that they got was kind of 2/3, 1/3 private. Now this is for renovations that will pay out over time. It's not a upfront payout like the Rays were looking for, and then they conceded to do it over 4 or 5 years instead of a big bulk upfront that the county would have had to bond. That would have cost interest, so they don't have to do that. So yes, the bottom line is, I know it sounds like, you see this kind of out there. Oh, the Rays want $1 billion, the Bucks want $1 billion. How can we afford all that at the same time? That is a gross mischaracterization of what's going on. The Bucks they have kind of set aside $500 million for them. That has not been part of this Rays discussion. So we've been telling you that for months and months and months. That should be sufficient to what the Bucks will need for their renovations. And anything more than that, they'll probably have to come out of their own pocket to do that because, again, they're not building something that's going to return a ton of tax money or any tax money to the people. Now they'll bring in events, obviously, and sales tax and all those things, the concerts and the Bucks games. But the Bucks games are only 8 to 10 a year, whereas the Rays are 81 games plus other events, and the Lightning are 41 home games plus playoffs. So it's a much different deal, all of it. Bottom line is Hillsborough County has the money for all of these teams. And again, they're not paying for everything. This is a much bigger, like in the Rays deal, it's 90% private money. When you look at the entire deal, not just the stadium. Stadium's about 55-45. So however you look at this, and Hagan has talked about this a lot, there's enough money to go around for everybody. and it's not all public money. Obviously, there's much more private money being put into this than public money. And in my opinion, very good use of that money. All right, I wanted to just say a quick thank you to all of our sponsors here. Pitch Roofing, which will give you a JP Peterson Show discount. Just give them a call over there, pitchroofing.com. Just go to the website and tell them JP sent you. Hurricane season obviously coming up. So if something were to happen, you got some damage to your roof, a lot of people would have it. You want to know who your roofing company is. You want to have a relationship with them before all this happens. So when it does happen, you don't have to wait in line. You already know who you're dealing with, and they put you to the front of the line. That's pitchroofing.com. Call them now. Get that free estimate. Great folks at Riveters. I was over there the other day. They're going to have a big World Cup celebration, folks. If you're looking to watch games for the World Cup and obviously Rays games as well, Riveters is the place to go. They have a fantastic setup there. That's always been a soccer hotbed. So if you're looking for places to watch the World Cup, Riveters is your place to go. Our good friends at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Make sure you have your flood insurance, right? Your business insurance as well. They will shop all of your insurance needs and save you tons of money. Italiano Insurance. Golden Diamond Source, Father's Day is coming up. They're going to have some special sales coming up at Father's Day. They've got an expanded men's section there. If you want to find one of those baller watches, they've got some pre-owned Rolex watches there. Great selection, and anything else you might need for your dad. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road. KingmakersTampa.com, where our studio is, where we normally do our show. Go to that website to check out that private club. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com and AC, along with American Standard Heating and Cooling. They are your dynamic duo. Go to ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com to get all the information and get their maintenance special, $169. They're running this summer. You get 2 visits. They'll clean out your drain, all that stuff to make sure that your unit is in working order. Cafe Paradiso, best Italian food in all of Tampa Bay. And, of course, GenesisofTampa.com. Check out all the cars there. The great GV70 that everybody is talking about that I just purchased from them. Terrific, awesome car. Fantastic on the road, the technology, the comfort, everything. And they are making deals at Genesis of Tampa and giving you great buyback for your car as well, your used car. So head on over to Genesis of Tampa. Thanks to all of our sponsors as we're able to do this show today from the road. All right. Wanted to hit a couple other things. The Bolts signed Ben Rotuinen, I believe is how you say it. 20-year-old, and just lit up the Finnish Professional League. Yes, the Professional League. Set records for goals and points in a season, 25 goals, 77 points. Of course, there's been a lot of Finnish players that have moved on. Saku Koivu had the record previous, and this kid just shattered it at 20 years old. He signs a 3-year entry-level contract with the Bolts. Really polished offensive player already. But he'll be able to come to training camp this coming year. We'll probably see him in the futures camp coming up soon. But the Bolts are super excited about this young kid and what he can do, and already playing with grown-ass men in the Finnish league and dominating, and absolutely dominating as an offensive player. So, with the Bolts this offseason, I do expect there to be some moves made, and I think they could be significant. This is just my opinion, by the way. They don't – Julian Brees' boss not telling me about what they're going to do. But just in my opinion, and talking to some of the other folks that cover the Lightning, I think you may see some significant changes, some additions. They've got some cap room for the first time in a long time. So once all the Stanley Cup stuff is done, I think you'll see the Lightning out there. But you got some really good prospects on the way. So it's, listen, 4 first-round exits. I know it's getting a little old and tiring for the fan base, especially watching their team lose at home in a Game 7. Not good. But obviously, as you saw, Montreal was a really good hockey team, and I think the Lightning are a great hockey team. But some changes will be made in this offseason. There's some good players on the way. And by the way, shout out to Torts. Little story here for you. We're inducting John Tortorella into the Sports Club of Tampa Bay Hall of Fame this coming Wednesday in Tampa. Sold out event. Sorry if you didn't get your tickets. But Torch was going to come. I started this conversation with him 2.5 months ago, and he was really excited to come and very honored by the sports club to come and receive his plaque in person. But then a little something happened. Las Vegas called. And this is just one of the most incredible stories in hockey history to fire a coach in Bruce Cassidy, a couple weeks before the playoffs begin. And now Torts has taken this Las Vegas team to the Stanley Cup final. So he's not going to be able to be there in person. So I was kind of waiting until he got done with the series. And I texted him yesterday, 2 days ago. And I was like, hey, man, sorry to bother you in the middle of this run. But if there's any way, obviously you're not going to be here for it. And we appreciate you initially making the offer to be here. But we're going to induct you in absentia. So if there's any way you could send us an acceptance speech, just do a little something on your phone, that would be awesome, right in the middle of this historic run. Well, he took the time to do it. And texted me back, said, yeah, I'd love to. So sorry I can't be there. I really wanted to be there to accept it in person. He says in the video, he and his wife are going to make their permanent home in Tampa Bay when he's finally done coaching, which clearly is going to be a while. So he's really, really honored to be going into the Sports Club of Tampa Bay Hall of Fame. And for him to take the time to do that during this incredible run to the Stanley Cup, we really, really appreciate it. That's the kind of guy Torts is. I know on the outside he can kind of seem like an a-hole, but he is one of the finest dudes you will ever meet. Terrific coach, obviously. And, to hear all the players, the Vegas players, talk about how he has turned that team around and motivated them, saying all the right things and making all the right moves. I think they're 19-4-1 since he took over, which is just a ridiculous number. And Carter Hart in gold, who played for him in Philadelphia, was a key move. But he's pushing all the right buttons, and now they'll face Carolina, who dispatched Montreal the other day. It should be a great, great final. I don't know who's favored. I think probably Carolina, but we all know who we're pushing for, and we'll be all at least I think most of us will be Vegas Golden Knights fans for this Stanley Cup final. Speaking of Game 7s, Wemby defeats SGA in that Game 7. Watched almost all of it. Maybe the first NBA game I've watched in a long time, almost an entire game. SGA was good, 35 points on 21 shots. Wemby was fantastic defensively. But just San Antonio way too much for a depleted Oklahoma City roster. They were down Jalen Williams and Mitchell. And Chet Holmgren, who they had hoped to pick up the slack, was absolutely invisible. I think he was 1 for 3 or 2 for 4 or something like that. Only had 4 points in the game. Total no-show as the Spurs move on now to face the New York Knicks. I mean, how about that? The New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals for the first time since what? I think over 20 years, maybe even longer than that. But by the way, the 73 Knicks team, when they first asked that question that's going around, I'm like, let me remember it. Willis Reed, Dave DeBusschere, Clyde Frazier, Earl the Pearl Monroe, and Bill Bradley, the senator. Off the top of my head, I was like, how did I remember that? But yes, that was the starting five for Phil Jackson was on that team as well as one of the key subs in that game. So Knicks versus Spurs. I think the Spurs are favored, but the Knicks are just killing people. I think it's going to be a really, really compelling series. Kind of a new flavor. Jalen Brunson, Towns, a lot of really, really good dudes on the Knicks. Guys you really, really root for. I'm watching. I'm going to watch every game. I think it's a really compelling matchup. Some fresh faces. Yeah, I'm excited about this. The finals coming up. I wanted to weigh in on the Jackson Dart Abdul Carter back and forth. And I thought this past week was, what started as something that was going to be the old, everybody get in your corner and insult the other person. And obviously when Jackson Dart introduced President Trump, there was a lot of backlash, as there always is when somebody supports Trump. I get it totally. we all get it. But he's still the president of the United States. And I thought it was interesting, the Abdul Carter press conference where he was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't like it. I'm not a supporter of Trump, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, he was like, but I sit next to Jackson every day. We don't have a beef. We're teammates. We have common goals. We can put this behind us. And we just have different political leanings, but it doesn't mean we can't be good teammates and be good friends. And I'm like, wow, isn't that a fresh perspective? Jameis Winston weighed in. I thought he had some really interesting things to say. And his message was, listen, folks, we can disagree on things, but still be teammates and love each other. Like, that's the way it used to be. And this is a message of tolerance that I think is so needed. And I put some stuff out on social media and, idiots coming back at me, oh, Jameis Winston, are you kidding me? All the picks he threw, the idiot stuff he did. And I'm like, bro, this is so much bigger than that. And that's so long ago when he was young and immature and stupid and did some stupid things like we all did. But this is so much bigger than that. And, and I see a lot of everybody's jumping in, talking about this. And could be a really, really important moment. I always say this, sports can lead the way in terms of social change. And I think this can be a really, really important moment in our country's history where we finally just stop, adding, you support this person. I can't even speak to you. You can't be my teammate. We got just exile you. No, that's not the way it has to be. And that's not the way it always was. Listen, there's a lot of nefarious folks out there that want to divide this country because a house divided cannot stand. And that's what they've been trying to do. And I think this is a great message of unity that you can support somebody who doesn't, think the way that you do. You can still be teammates. You can still be friends. I think it's a really important message. And if the Giants can lead the way in showing that, I think it's a very, very positive thing. Who was it that said discomfort is often the price of progress? And there is some discomfort in these conversations, obviously, but we're talking about it. And finally, I think we're getting a little bit more unity in the community. I think people can look at this situation, a very public situation, and say, yeah, it's okay. Everybody can have their political opinion. I would rather you put that opinion out when you're not in a uniform on a field. That's my opinion about it. In your private time, when you want to support a candidate, that's your right, obviously. And if you're a teammate of that person, I think you should respect that right. And I think these guys got it right. I think they finally got it right. All right, college baseball. We finally got it's a crazy tournament, isn't it? The Gators almost lost in their opening game to Rider. They had to come back and win in a walk-off fashion in the first one, 8-7. I'm trying to get the FSU score if I can get an update on that one. They're playing NIU, and they have to win this game and then win twice tomorrow against St. John's to advance. Okay, here we go. Florida State leading in Northern Illinois 7-4 in the top of the 10th. So they're actually the visiting team here. So if they can finish that off, they'll have to beat St. John's twice, who beat them in the bottom of the ninth in the opening game to put Florida State into the losers bracket. So they'll have to win twice tomorrow. And, they're using up a lot of their pitchers while St. John's is kind of sitting on the side. So we'll see. And that will be at Hauser Stadium in Tallahassee. The Gators will have a chance. They'll have to only win 1 out of 2 to punch their ticket to the Super Regionals as well. And St. Mary's walked off the number 1 seed UCLA. How about that? All right, that'll do it for this edition of the JP Peterson Show. We will be back on Tuesday in studio with a full show. The Big O show coming up tomorrow as well with Orestes de Estrada. So he'll be talking some Rays baseball with us as well. Thanks for watching today. Thanks again to all of our great sponsors. You see them listed below. We will hopefully make it back safe to you on Tuesday. Oh, didn't mean to put that up. Yes, Tarps Off was something fantastic. And we will be doing it at some point. So appreciate you guys. We will be on.